welcome back to the Brunch Club by Buella. Today's topic is a serious one. We are going to be talking about cyberbullying and trolling.
Cyber?
We're doing that again? You can't fucking laugh now, come on.
No, the way you said cyber.
What's wrong with cyber?
I've never heard it said like that. Sorry, I'm English. I'm going, go again.
Get you, go.
Hi guys, and welcome back to the Brunch Club by Buella. Today we are talking about online bullying and trolling. Molly, do you want to give me...
Gemma, how are you, love? How's it going?
All good with me?
Yeah?
Yes.
Okay, yeah, all good with me, all good with me.
So, tell me about your experiences with trolling.
My experiences with trolling, I'd probably say start from when I was about 16 or 17 and I was playing football and I had men online just ripping me apart for being from Liverpool, about the class that I came from, and it's quite hard, to be honest, to be that age and have fully grown men give their opinion on you. It wasn't something that was easy to get on with, but I just tried to laugh it off because I think I was young then. Trolling weren't that massive, so it didn't really affect me too much. However, when I got more to an elite level of fighting, I think the trolls kind of came for me a little bit more. And I remember when we had this conversation, we was talking about it, I said I've only really ever been trolled about my sexuality and homophobia, so it's never really been about what I look like or my fighting style or if I'm good or bad at that. So
did it affect you?
Yeah, I think because it didn't come out till late and obviously weren't comfortable with myself, that it was really hard and I had to get comfortable with myself really quick. So the way you take away their power is like, if the worst thing that you can say to me is that I'm gay, it's like, well, I am, so like, fuck off. Do you know what I mean? I felt like there's been a few occasions where ex-partners or family members or coaching staff was trolled, which was really hard to shield them from being hurt, because their life shouldn't be affected just because if I do what I do. And it's really easy for them. When I was going through it, it was quite hard sometimes, and they go, oh, just don't pay any attention to it, which I'm sure you'd have had with your mum or with your other friends and stuff, but until you're the person who's getting trolled, it's different. And I remember one time my coach Paul Rimmer, he's like the head honcho, nothing phases him, dead cool, and someone came for him off my Twitter and he was fuming. He was like, can you get that man who gets the IP addresses and all so that old story. And I was like, Paul, you just don't have to pay no attention to it. And it was really hard, but I don't know, there's ways in which you combat it, isn't it, which I'm sure you have, where you either go for them or you just pay them no attention. And I think it's about picking your battles and choosing the right ones.
Of course, yeah.
What about you and your experience?
I remember my very first experience with online trolling.
When was that?
I had just become Miss Great Britain. I'd just become Miss Great Britain, and I had went on a holiday to Spain, Marbella, and we got some pictures taken on the beach. And my manager had said to me a few days afterwards, the pictures have reached the press. And I was like, yay! You know, that was the goal.
I'm famous!
That was the goal. And he said, Gemma, let's get a coffee. I just want to prepare you before you go online, or before you see anything about some of the comments. And
did he actually prep you to... You never told how to take the negative press with the positive,
but
did
that's
he
the first time I really experienced someone actually going out of their way to write on the internet something negative about you. And because I was in an industry that is about how I looked at the time, it was all about my looks. I toughened up very, very quickly from that. I was then trolled again when my brother signed for a football team here in Northern Ireland. I was trolled really bad, and that was really, really nasty. Like, some people were saying about slitting my throat and just really horrible stuff. And I remember going to the police about it just because I felt uneasy. Someone had wrote on Twitter, I saw her in such and such a bar. So I was like, these people are actually really close to me and they're making these threats. So I went to the police and the police said, and I quote, "Stay off social media." I mean...
It's just my job. I mean...
They were like, if you don't want to be upset. I was like, but they're making threats about my life. Just stay off social media. And that's when I just thought, something has to be done about this. It's, you know, you can't... People say freedom of speech. Yeah, fair enough. But you can't go out of your way and just say absolute nastiness to someone.
Yeah.
And you really don't know how someone's feeling. I think a lot of people thought I was strong, independent, you know, I was modelling at the time and nothing was going to faze me. But those things do penetrate, and...
Especially if they hit a nerve and it's like an underlying insecurity, which,
of course.
And they're the ones that you can't let, like you can never bite on them ones, can you?
But as I said, I toughened up really quickly, and I wouldn't say I'm completely immune to it. I'm kind of numb. There's nothing I haven't heard about myself. Not one thing. I've heard it all.
Yeah.
Some true, some not true. But when your family start to get involved, you know, I was living in London and my mum was going, and Sexy Boy 87 said, I was like, okay. I said, Dad, can you please take Mum away from the computer? You know?
She let Margot put the glasses on like that.
But I'm not a mother, but I imagine when someone...
Well, what about when I get trolled, or say if like any of our friends who were in the spotlight gets trolled, we're all like that straight away, getting ready to go in. So could you imagine your
if
mum?
It was, yeah. So, yeah, I'm not a mother, but my mum she takes it so bad, and I was like, Mum, please, it's fine. Someone said it was ugly. Like, it's fine. And, you know, it was just so hard for her, and I felt sorry for my brother. My brother took a lot of flack as well for it. But apart from that, I'm quite immune to it now.
Yeah.
But that's just because I've been wore down so much.
Yeah.
But as we know, with the likes of Caroline Flack, another girl who was Miss Great Britain before me, have taken their lives because of online trolling, and it's just
not cool, is it? It's not. It's.
I don't think they realise the impact that they're actually creating.
Mm-hmm.
And we'll hear about that later as we have a guest on who has had experience with that.
Yeah.
But as my mum would say, you know, never wrestle with a pig, because from a distance you don't know which one's the pig and you both get stinking. So I've been trolled a lot from people I don't know, fake profiles, you know, people I do know, but I just don't play the game. What does your mum say?
Right, there's two bits of advice which my mum and someone who Gemma knows is, my mum says the way to win the game is by not playing it. And someone was speaking to Gemma once, talking about it, and they said Gemma never punched down. Mm-hmm. And that one resonated with me when we was on the plane, wasn't it? Because I was just like, why would you?
Yeah, he said to me, this was a politician, he said to me, who is this person that's writing it? And I said, well, just me. Explained who the person was, and he was like, never punch down, Gemma. You know, if Drake is saying it about you, you know, maybe go in for the fight there.
Yeah.
But never punch down. So yeah, we're going to also have a psychologist on the show, and they're going to be talking, Emma, she's going to be talking about why these people do it.
Yeah. It's like understanding the thought process, the characteristics, what they thrive on, and how to negate them, I suppose, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely. But everyone's all about this, be kind, and especially online, but I just think that it's getting worse. Everybody has, as you said on the plane, opinions are like arseholes.
Everyone's got one.
Yeah, I think there's a fine line between having an opinion and constructive criticism for someone, and then just being a nasty prick.
Yeah, because I remember I said to you, like, I've never trolled a person, but I said to you, like, say if I went to watch a football game and my team didn't give me value for money, I've wrote a tweet and just been like, that game was awful, but I'd never
get personal,
go personal and go in on someone. Do you know what I mean? But some people, COVID's really changed it, in my opinion. I think everyone's really what did they say? Something breeds company. What is it? Misery breeds company, and I just think everyone's just jumping on it, and it just needs to
stop.
Yeah. Shall we get the guests on?
Yeah. Carolyn, thank you so much for coming to the Brunch Club by Biella. I know this isn't easy for you to talk about, but do you want to just tell your experience with trolling?
Yeah, so my brother was subjected to trolling over Facebook on social media. It wasn't over it was long enough, it wasn't over a very long period of time, it was over 6 months. It just started with quotes and statuses put up about him here and there. People were commenting, not nice things they were commenting about him, but it wasn't until we got to January, then the 2nd of January there was a big status that was put up about my brother. It was accusing him of being subjecting his ex-partner to domestic violence, which wasn't true. It was the other way around. The status that was put up about him was it was very nasty. It wasn't true. He got this sent to him, and he's saying that his ex-partner had put up a picture of a baby bump also. What she had said in it, she thanked, like, she went to Women's Aid, she had really played the victim. Now we knew that from being in my brother's life for 27 years and being a sister, I know he's not a violent person. But the status that was put up, people were telling him that he was a monster, he was disgusting, he was nasty, he shouldn't be alive. And there was actually friends that he had worked with that had commented this about him as well. So that was on the 2nd of January, and the early hours of the 3rd of January my brother took his own life. We obviously knew he had been dealing with mental health from the relationship broke down. He got put on to antidepressants, he was going to the doctor. We thought, he's getting better, and he wasn't. But the 6-month period that the things were being put up about him, things were being said, has obviously it got too much for him. And on the 3rd of January.
Did from the first instant where the first status went out towards the end, did you see like he wasn't able to deal with it? Was it getting worse and worse as time, or did some days you think, oh, he's all right with that? Or
yeah, we thought that he was okay. We thought that he was taking his medication. He wasn't taking his medication that the doctor put him on, and we only found that out after he had passed away. But he was the type of person that would have shrugged it off. You wouldn't have thought that it was annoying him. He was a happy boy, he made everybody laugh, he had so many friends all over the world. So you wouldn't have thought that things like that were annoying him, but deep down they obviously were really getting to him.
And as we know, there's no law against people doing this.
No.
You've started a petition.
Yes.
So if you just tell us a wee bit about that so we can tell everybody and try to get as many.
I started a petition for, it marked World Mental Health Week. I started that last year. It's on change.org and it's KG, 27. I started that because people bully, people troll over social media, nothing gets done about it, and these people are murderers, and there needs to be a law put in place that they can be held accountable
100%.
for the death of somebody, for pushing somebody so far that they take their own life.
What would you like to see happen? Would you like it to be a criminal offence? Like people do time for this?
Yes,
sort of stuff?
I would, because if you are big enough to push somebody to their death, you're big enough to do time for it.
Yeah, I think people should be held accountable for their actions.
Yeah.
I was saying to Gemma yesterday when we was talking about it, people aren't aware of like how much effect just saying one thing can do to someone else. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
What would you say, Caroline, to someone who's maybe watching this who's being trolled?
First of all, I would tell them that the best thing they can do is speak about it. Speaking about it is a problem shared is a problem halved. And once you start speaking about it, that's the first step that you can take. And after that, it does get easier. Bullies and trolls are people that hide behind a screen, and in my eyes they have a problem with themselves and they make others think that they are the problem. So if anybody is being subjected to being bullied or trolled online, yes, you can report it. I don't feel enough is done through social media for that for anything to happen. But once you start speaking about it, it does get easier.
And Caroline, what would you say to someone who's maybe watching this who is a troll?
Just stop it. You don't know. You could say one thing to somebody and you could think that it's nothing, but to that person, you don't know what they've been through, you don't know what they've dealt with, and that one thing, be it big or small, could really tip that person. And if there is somebody trolling out there, I'm begging them to stop it.
I think as a family, how was you able to deal with the trolling, and were you able to confront those who did troll and get justice, or did you feel like you needed justice? Did you feel like they needed to be spoken to?
Not at present, we haven't got justice yet. We are fighting for justice because we know that the people that done this killed my brother. There was close friends that we worked with that were involved in the trolling, which I've only recently found out. I have distanced myself from them people so that it doesn't affect my health either. But when and if the petition gets passed, that's when we will be bringing justice and bringing these people forward to get the justice, not even for us as a family, but for my brother.
Have you seen a difference in their behaviour towards you since all of that happened? Are they aware? Do they have guilt for what they've done?
They have no remorse whatsoever.
Really?
No remorse. And yeah, they don't care. They get on with their normal lives. They probably look at it like it didn't happen to them. So
I think when people troll, obviously it's tragic circumstances for your family, but when people troll, they think they're just trolling one person, but they don't know the ripple effect.
Yeah.
Like, I spoke to your wee mummy this morning, and like, so many lives have been ruined. Like, obviously your brother took his life.
yeah.
So many other lives have been ruined. You even spoke about your wee son. I mean,
Yeah.
so many. They
Yeah.
don't understand how many people they're affecting.
Yeah. My son, he's only 10, and from my brother died, his mental health as a 10-year-old is shocking. He doesn't want to be here. He wants to be with his Uncle Kenny. This is an ongoing thing. It has been an ongoing thing. He gets counselled through Bernardo's. He was being counselled through the school counsellor also. Obviously I didn't want to have too much going on at one point with him, but he has been engaged in a wee programme with the school now as well to help him with his emotions. He is a very angry child now, but it hasn't just affected him. I have 2 other children, and one's not old enough to remember, but I have a 7-year-old. She relates to her pain and sadness through song. So she would sing and she would think of her Uncle Kenny that way. So it affects the children, but it affects them all in different ways.
Just tragic. So, Carolyn, for your family moving forward, it'll never be the same, but obviously you've put all your passion into this petition.
Yeah.
We really want to help you, and we get a lot of views on this, so tell us what we can do.
Well, we have just over 10,000 at the minute, and that will get us into Stormont for our government. We need 100,000 to take it over to Westminster for the law to then be passed properly. Once it goes to Westminster, they do want to get the likes of media and everything involved to bring it in the light also. But we just, at the minute, really need to get the signatures. We have noticed a bit of it's sort of going in a downward spiral with the signatures at the minute. There hasn't been as much from we've reached the 10,000. But me and Mum, we've both really been pushing the petition. For a while I did take a wee stepwards back from it, and Mum was doing most of the sharing and getting the signatures and stuff as well. But yeah, we need 100,000 for Westminster, and take it from there and see what happens.
Yeah, so asking all our viewers, please do a swipe up on both of our Instagrams, and the link's going to be here on screen now.
I just want to say thanks so much for coming on. Like, that's proper.
Thank you.
Gutted me there, you know, like, gutted me. But I really do think that we're going to be able to do something with the signatures at least, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And especially when COVID's not going to be as
Yeah.
prevalent, do you know? I don't know. Imagine if I was fighting in an arena and you can all stand outside with the finger, people, or football matches or whatever, do you know, where loads of people are, because I think this is just happening to too many people.
Yeah.
It's
I
not
know.
okay.
I just can't even imagine how, as a family, you feel. I have a wee brother, and you know it would be terrible to harbour that. I imagine anger as well. Do you ever see in the future that there'll be even some kind of peace with what has happened?
No.
No.
It's harder.
I can't even give you a wee hug because of COVID.
Yeah, I just, this year is definitely harder than last year.
Well, was it last year that it happened?
Well, this is coming up to the 2 years.
2 years.
And coming up to the year, it's still very fresh. I don't know what the years will bring, but we'll see.
Carolyn, thank you so much for coming. Very brave of you to come on and tell your story, and we just hope that all our viewers can give you a signature.
Thank you. I hope that it is.
Emma, thank you so much for joining us today at the Brunch Club.
Thank you.
Do you want to just give your full title? I don't want to get it wrong.
No, you won't get it wrong. No, my name's Emma Harrison. I'm a psychotherapist and a clinical supervisor.
Okay.
I have my own practice from home as well. So I would see clients and I would see students, and you know, I deal with a whole range of different topics.
Okay.
But I know today that this is, you know, one in particular that you do want to talk
Yeah,
about
talk about.
trolling and cyberbullying.
We just had a very emotional interview with a young girl who had lost her brother through trolling. He took his own life, sadly. We're just trying
sorry to hear
to.
that.
I know.
That's
My makeup's ruined.
I know.
We're just trying to get Emma really an understanding really about why people do this. Like, what are the characteristics? Is there characteristics of a troll? What is it?
It's not that there's necessarily characteristics, because they said it could be your next door neighbour's trolling somebody. It could be someone you work with is doing it, and you would never have guessed that about them, that they were capable of doing that. It's, you know, there's something that's happened to them along their lifespan growing up, because, you know, as I say, nobody is ever born bad. Nobody comes into this world born bad or evil. But there can be things that happen along the way that were traumatic for them. Say they were bullied at school, or they were brought up in a household where they had no voice, so they weren't listened to. And whatever they said, it was like, oh, shut up, and just pushed to the side. They could have been bullied in work. It could have been physical abuse, any types of abuse at all, verbal abuse. That's all they know. So they have been conditioned quite a lot from a young age. And, you know, the expression I said, you know, hurt people. You know, it's a repetitive cycle. And it's one that they find very hard to break. It's one that bullies find hard to break, because half the time they wouldn't call themselves bullies, you know. And if this is something that was going on whenever they were younger, and it's led them to become bullies as they're older, whether it's cyberbullying, trolling, harassment, whatever you want to call it, it's like, it's, how do I put it, it's like the wounded child. Okay, so if something horrible happened to you as a child, you will have that wounded child. You just can't place that to the side. Okay,
It lives with you.
It lives with you, yes. And if it doesn't get sorted out at the time, whatever happened to that wounded child becomes a wounded adult. And then therefore they go off and try and hurt or wound other people.
Yeah.
Are they aware that they are that person sometimes, or are they unaware?
A lot of them will be unaware. Do you mean, are they aware of that they're bullies, or
Are they aware of the impact of being a bully? Yeah, that's what I think.
Well, I think sometimes they really don't care, because nobody ever cared for them, so why should they care? You know, there is that. I have never had somebody come into my practice or into my therapy room or had a referral through from a doctor or anything, and it said, this person is a troll and they want help.
Yeah,
You
it
know,
doesn't happen.
It doesn't, you don't get that. That is what you're going to get. What you're going to get is there's a person that's going to be coming to you, male or female, their age, whatever, and they were bullied very badly in their past. They were beat about. They were physically, sexually abused. All these things, and after a few sessions, you sort of work out, you know, can they see that the behaviour that they had put on them, they're actually projecting this onto someone else that they have picked, that could be in the spotlight or in the media.
So in theory, we should be feeling sorry for these people. Like, they need help.
I don't like, no, that's sort of like taking a victim mentality, I think. Whenever you start feeling sorry for people, I'm not saying feel sorry for them. You know, you can, yes, you have got to say that, you know, if something did happen along the way in their childhood, yeah, that's terrible. That feel sorry for that child, but that, you know, that wounded child became the wounded adult. They need to heal, and they
Take
have to
responsibility.
take. Yes, exactly. They have to take the ownership that this is what they're doing. So they have to admit, you know, I know this isn't right, and I need to get help for it, and I need to do something about it. You know, they have to take ownership for that.
So there's something in their life that they have to fix if they're a troll, you would say, generally.
Yeah.
What would you say to people who are being trolled, and also to people who are trolling? What advice?
Oh goodness. What would I
much?
say? No, quite a lot of times. Right, no, to people that are being trolled, I would say, please do not keep it to yourself. The biggest problem we have is men. There's this. It's in our cultural society. Men keep these things to themselves. If they're getting bullied or anything like that, they won't talk. Very rarely will they open up about it. But really, if you are getting harassed online through Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, whatever, please tell somebody. If it's a member of your family, if it's a GP, if you want to go and see a therapist, you know, you've got to voice it, you've got to speak it, because you don't want to let it get to these detrimental effects of where people start having like suicidal ideations and will even complete suicide and things like that, because that is whenever the self-worth has hit rock bottom. And they start to believe what the trolls have actually put in their heads. And it's very easy to say, don't read it. just come off Instagram, just come off these sites. Some people have to be on them for their job and for work. It's very easy to say that, but there's always this part of us where we should look, but
you want to.
I can like put my hands up and say say me and Ava was having this conversation before. It's really easy for someone to say don't look.
Yes.
But when you've got 6 messages and that's what they're saying, you're dying to read it, aren't you?
Yeah, you are, and that's just part of human nature. So I would say yes, these trolls they do need to get into therapy. They do need to get help themselves, definitely.
Carolyn is having a hard time trying to get justice for her brother, and I even told a story.
Can I have some background information?
Yeah, so Kenneth took his own life after being trolled.
How long ago was this?
Just January passed, and he had been trolled for about 6 months. They're trying to fight for justice for Kenneth, but when I was trolled, I went to the PSNI, and even the PSNI said to me, come off Instagram, come off the sites. I mean, is the law going to change, Emma? Do you think that enough is enough of this?
Oh goodness, David Cameron, whenever he was Prime Minister, he tried to change the law about trolling. You always see the likes of celebrities like Katie Price, the things that are said about her wee boy Harvey. It's disgusting. She's always campaigning for things. But as I said, it does come under the Malicious Communications Act. There is no trolling act as such, but it does come under that. And the fact that the police just said you will delete it, well, you can't. Through your work and what you do, you can't. You've got to advertise yourself and what you're doing. So you can push it and say, well, actually, it comes under this act. If you can get this person, I want them prosecuted. But as I say, they were they're behind a screen. There's no inhibitions. They wear an invisible cloak. Very hard to get them if they keep on changing their profiles.
Would you say they are addicted to it, or in some cases obsessed with the person's life?
They can become very obsessed with someone, almost to the point of stalkerish. But in a really freaky way, people that troll can become very obsessed. And the thing is, whenever they're trolling someone and they're quite obsessed by them, you'll normally find it's not just one troll. There's going to be 2, 3, 4 are going to jump on at the same time. And it's like they become a wee gang, and they all start to become obsessed by
someone's life.
Yes, and it's normally jealousy. It's normally.
No, I'm only laughing because since coming to Belfast, I've seen a culture in Northern Ireland, a culture of women over here who do that. Like I've not really seen it in England and Liverpool, but
like one-upmanship where you've got your
just
I'm going to go bigger kind of thing, or what? Or what do you mean?
Everything you're saying is like a tribe of women who are all like obsessed about
and men also.
And men.
Yeah, there is men as well. Yeah,
they're obsessed with certain people who I've come to know now in Belfast, and I can see how it's affecting these people. Do you know what I mean? Like I'm seeing the people who are being trolled, but with the mentality of what you're saying.
Like if I came to you, if I was a client and said to you, I know this doesn't happen because they don't recognise it, but if I came to you and said, I'm working all day, then I can't wait to get home, pour a glass of wine, go on a site to send malicious and nasty messages to someone, what would you say to me?
Nobody has ever come out and said that to me.
I know.
What would I say to you? I'd be saying, what's behind that?
Yeah. So
what's your reasons behind that? Is that nature or nurture? What's going on there? What's making you want to act that way? There's always a thought behind the action. I want to know what the thought is.
Yeah.
So do I. So does everyone, don't we?
Obviously, I'm not doing that. I was just using me as an example.
Yeah.
Hopefully, we are going to get the laws changed, and we're going to try that. Carolyn has set up a petition. She's got over 10,000 signatures. We need 100,000, so we're really pushing that, guys. Yeah. Please, if you're still watching, please sign. How do we combat it? Online bullying. Do you think you go after them, or do you think don't play the game, or
don't play the game, don't respond?
Okay.
Because what they're trying to do is they're trying to control you. That's what a bully does. They try and take away your power and they try and control you. And if you respond they will see that they have got some type of power or control because you're responding to them. But then the more you don't respond, the more nasty they become, and the nastier the things that they start to say. So it's that's kind of a tricky one, actually. You know, it really is. It's so easy to say try and ignore it, just don't respond, but it is tricky.
Yeah, I've said to her, and she's the same when we've been trolled. There's certain situations, and it's knowing and when to pick your battles, because some people you're gonna say something back, and like
they're gonna love it.
Well, some people I've put in their place, and then they've sent me a private message like, I'm really sorry. I was literally saying to her yesterday, I had someone in the army inbox me and say you're a fat ugly slag or something, and then I googled
someone
their name.
Someone in the army?
Listen, I googled their name, found them on Facebook, seeing that they was in the army, and then I messaged them back and I just said, thanks for your service. And then literally in seconds they was like, that wasn't me, I swear, thanks for protecting our country, thanks for your service, that wasn't me, that was the boys, I'm really sorry, blah blah blah. I just screenshotted it, put it on my Instagram, tagged his name, and I went, get him boys.
Good
and listen, and it turned out he ended up getting a disciplinary and getting really told off for it.
So you shamed them. And there is
there's a fine line, but then you know, when you're bullied, there's a fine line of overstepping that and becoming a bully because you want to protect yourself. And I don't know if
I think she was very assertive in what she did. I think you handled it in a brilliant way. It was very assertive. You didn't come back and say, oh, you're an asshole, you're this, that, and the other. You know, you didn't come back with the retaliation of what they came to you with.
Yeah. But then there's been some days where, say, I've been in the gym for 10 hours, absolutely done in, come home and, well no, a slight exaggeration, 8 hours. But then I'll come home and read one and then go, and then I'm like, fuck, I've picked the wrong one, because then it's like, I'm on the fishing line.
Do you find yourself losing your temper and you do want to write back to them and you do want to say things back to them?
When I'm not in sound clear, like, frame of mind. So if I'm really tired, hungry and being beaten up in training, like, then I'm just gonna bite. Or if they get something where I just think, say if someone came about me partner or someone in my family, I'm always probably gonna go for that. But when they don't, sometimes it's just like you just take it on the chin.
But that goes back to the point of you don't know what's going on in someone's life. You know, so someone could just get you, Molly, at a really, really bad moment. And
I've lost the plot. But then sometimes I've won and not. Do you know what I mean? But like I say,
I feel as if I'm completely numb to it. There's nothing that I haven't heard about myself.
But are you really?
I am, unless...
Have you put up a brick wall?
Oh yeah, like, you can psychoanalyze me, definitely. I honestly... I get lots of people on Instagram, Gemma, how will I deal with this? Like what they're saying about me, whatever, because I've spoken out about trolling before. I'm completely numb to it, but what really riles me is when my mum reads it.
Yes, because it's very hurtful for the family.
So I see a 60-year-old woman crying about something that's been said about me, and I'm like, Mum, I don't give a shit. Like, I don't. Someone called me, whatever, I don't care, but that's her daughter.
I know.
No matter what people think about me, that's
right.
You know.
You see, this is where it has a knock-on effect. It's not just affecting the person that's being trolled. It's affecting their family as well if they know. So, you know, and I know as an only child, if, like, I'm 40. Sorry, 39. 39. I know, like, I'm a grown-ass adult now, and if my dad saw somebody, or my mum saw somebody writing something awful about me, they would be quick to jump in. Mum would get upset, Dad would be down the road with a gun, he would, do you know what I mean? And that's completely natural for your parents to have that reaction. But for you, you're saying it's bouncing off you, but you want to protect them from seeing it.
I want to protect my mum and my dad. Like, there is a couple of sites out there, which I won't name because I don't want to give them publicity.
No, don't.
Every day my mum's like, what do you call that site? I know it begins with T. What do you call it? And I'm like, Dad, don't tell her what it's called, because she'll go down a rabbit hole.
Yeah.
And like, my mum's 60 now, like, they don't need that kind of shit.
No, they don't. They don't.
They come from a time though where, like, trolling weren't a thing, so they can't comprehend why someone would say these things and not like.
But if you have someone that you can open up to and talk to, not your mum, and you can sort of use them as like a buffer. Oh, such and such did this to me today, and you know what? It really stung me in the ass. It really hurt. you know, that's half the battle, because you've got it out of you, and the other
But-
person's going to say they're just fucking assholes. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Don't take it in.
I just want to say one thing about trolling.
Mm-hmm.
No one's ever said it to me on the street. No one has ever said it
Exactly.
face to face.
This is why it's called cyberbullying, and this is why it's called trolling, because they're not going to say
They're
it to
weak.
your face. They are, and there's also, what I wanted to say was, there's sometimes the trolls can also have a sense of shame,
Yeah, that's the ones who hide their identity.
and that's
Yeah.
why they, you know, there's part of them. I talk about parts sometimes in the brain. There's a part of them that has a bit of shame, but there's a part of them that has so much hatred and jealousy that they really want to get into that person and get into their head and try and make them feel as shit about their lives as what they do about theirs.
Yeah.
You know, so their shame is being masked and veiled because they're behind a screen.
It's projection
And
of their own life.
It is, yes, exactly.
So when it really comes down to it, these people need to seek help.
They do. I would advise, you know, anybody out there that is a troll and that is trolling other people, or get obsessed with thoughts about other people and feel that they, you know, they have to come in from work if they've had a shit day, and, you know, they need to get straight on to social media and start really running down somebody else to make themselves feel better. I would advise them to get straight into therapy, because there's something in there that's very, very wounded in them if they feel the need that they need to hurt somebody else.
Yeah.
But they don't need to go into therapy and say, I'm a troll, sort me out.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they don't need to say that,
But that's
because
good
that's
as well.
never.
If you want to do that, that's good.
Yeah, no, but you know, that's what I'm saying before. That's how it sort of begins. You kind of go into their background, into their history, using different modalities that we would in therapy, and then you can kind of work it out where this has come from, where this has stemmed from. Because as I keep going back and saying, nobody's born bad.
Yeah.
Something has happened to
Of
them
course.
to make them do. And I'm not sticking up for them by no means.
Oh, no,
am I
yeah.
sticking up for them? I'm being quite diplomatic, you know, on both sides.
Mhm.
But they do need a lot of help. They need a lot of help, and the victims need a lot of support.
Emma, thank you so much for coming on and giving us a little bit of insight.
It was a pleasure.
Please, everyone, stop trolling. Be kind.
Yeah, well,
It's
the most
people's lives
yeah,
that you're dealing with.
It is people's lives, and you're so right saying that. Be kind. It's
I think as humans, myself included,
Mhm.
we tend to judge. That's human nature. But I would never
Yeah.
want to write it down where they could see it, their family could see it, maybe think it. But you would
But
never hear it.
they're not going on consequences. Trolls are very impulsive. They're not thinking of the consequences. They're not thinking of what this person might do. They're just venting it from their
So
system.
hopefully they watch this brunch club and see the devastation they've caused a family and
Yeah.
the worst case outcome that can happen from trolling.
That is the worst case outcome. Somebody completing suicide because their self-worth just hit rock bottom, and they must have believed what was being like.
Because
Put
when
into them,
someone's saying
that's-
something and it's the same thing every day, and imagine if that's your insecurity, there's just no, like, there's nothing worse, is there?
No, there's not. There's
Emma,
not.
thank you so much for your time. I know you moved
you.
heaven and earth to get here for us today.
No, it's not a problem.
I would just like to say again, a broken record, please sign the petition.
Yes.
It's all the information's on screen. This podcast has been sponsored by Local Women magazine, and it's in dedication to Kenneth Gregg.
It's lovely.
Guys, if you have been affected by anything that we spoke about today, we have a list of contact numbers coming up on the screen now.
When the rain is blowing in your face and the whole world is on your case, I could offer you a hold you for a million years to make you feel my love. I know you haven't made your mind up yet, but I will never do you wrong. I've known it from the moment that we met. No doubt in my mind where you belong. I go hungry, I go black and blue. I go crawling down the avenue. Though there's nothing that I wouldn't do to make you feel my love. The storms are raging on the rolling sea, and on the highway of regret. The winds of change are blowing wild and free. You ain't seen nothing like me yet. I could make you happy, make your dreams come true. There is nothing that I wouldn't do. Go to the end of the earth for you, to make you feel my love, to make you feel my love.